they're even, taking steps that could arguably lead us into World War III. Something's going on. Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress are intentionally damaging this country, and I can't figure out why. The biggest political con of the last century, this is my op-ed, my daily takeover at Hartmann Report today, is, I'm asking a question here. We have $36 trillion in debt, all of which is attributable to Reagan's tax cuts, Bush's tax cuts, Trump's tax cuts, and Bush's 2 illegal wars, all of it. If you go back to the two Santa Claus theory, Jude Wanniski's theory, that or his program, his plan, his electoral plan, that when Republicans are in the White House, they should spend like drunken sailors and run up the debt as high and hard as possible so that when Democrats come into the White House, the Republicans can yell and scream and squeal about, oh, our children are going to inherit all this debt. You've got to cut your social programs. Originally, that was just, to get tax cuts. But now, we're looking at downgrading our vigilance around diseases. I've seen 2 reports now that the Centers for Disease Control and other federal health agencies are no longer notifying doctors of disease outbreaks in the United States. You've got Bob Kennedy's group just came out and said if you're under 65, you're not going to get any more COVID vaccines. What, we want more disease and death, long COVID? They've rolled back food testing, including testing for bacteria and infant formula. They've made major cuts to the FAA. They laid off hundreds of FAA employees, and look at what's happening. Now you've got, safety failures happening all over the place. They slashed the National Weather Service. The Medicaid cuts are going to likely lead to tens of thousands of deaths in the United States. And the tariffs, of course, are increasing inflation and destroying jobs. And then on top of that, we gutted USAID, so our soft influence, our soft power around the world, in addition to, millions of women and children mostly in Africa dying of AIDS right now. In addition to that, well, men as well, in addition to the death, that is going to be caused, as Bill Gates pointed out, it's kind of unseemly to see the richest man in the world cutting off health care to the poorest people in the world. But it's happening. But on top of that, we're losing our influence around the world, and China is coming in and picking up all these countries that we're dumping. You have to ask the question, why? I get it if it's just about tax cuts. Yeah, we're gonna take $50 trillion out of the hides of the middle class and hand it off to the top 1%. They've already done that in the last 44 years. That's documented. And then another $20, $30 trillion on top of that, in all these cuts. If it was just tax breaks, it's cynical, it's immoral, to borrow $36 trillion and give it to the richest people in the country. It's not good for the country. But at least that's explicable, that's understandable. But why are they destroying our reputation around the world? Why are they handing, poor countries to China instead of, keeping them in our sphere? Why are they making changes that are going to lead to the deaths of thousands of Americans, perhaps tens of thousands of Americans? Why? I don't honestly know the answer here, and I'm hoping that you can help me figure this out. What's going on with this? Instead of investing in education and science, they're making it harder to go to school. Instead of promoting democracy, they're embracing murderous dictators. Instead of lifting up Americans and helping our veterans and providing food, health care, and shelter, they're gutting the Veterans Administration and the social safety net. So, did Putin or Xi or both tell Trump or Musk to destroy America? Is that what's going on here? Are our country's billionaires so psychopathically greedy that they're willing to sell us all out for another few $1 billion in tax breaks? Do Trump's allies believe that if they can impoverish Americans, we'll be more willing to go along with an authoritarian agenda the way that Germans were after the Depression and the horrors of World War I in 1933? Is that the deal? Are they following these dark Enlightenment philosophers of Silicon Valley who tell us that we should just put the tech bros in charge of the country and get over our dictator phobia? I mean, nobody knows for sure. Nobody can really explain this. And there's no discussion of this in the mainstream media. I mean, the two Santa Claus thing, that's easily documented. It's never mentioned. The explosion in our national debt is all over, everybody's talking about it, but nobody's pointing out that 100% of it is attributable to 3 Republican presidents.
1 minute.
Nobody is speculating why Trump or Musk would want to kill off USAID or kneecap the FAA or the National Weather Service, for God's sake. I mean, these savings are meaningless in terms of the billionaires' tax breaks. The amount of money that you're saving by gutting the FAA and the National Weather Service, that's not going to, I mean, that's 15, 20 cents per billionaire. It's nothing. So why are they doing this? And they're holding their votes in the middle of the night to hide it from us. I don't get it. Why do you think this is happening? I'd love to hear from you. And now they're threatening our position in the world. In fact, they're even, taking steps that could arguably lead us into World War III. Something's going on. Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress are intentionally damaging this country. And I can't figure out why. I got it during the Reagan administration. They want to just cut taxes on rich people. The top tax rate was 74%. That was easy to understand. And Bush wanting to lie us into a war. Of course, he told us in 1999, before he even ran for president, that if he became president, he was going to have a war because that was the best way to get reelected. You can understand that. You can understand Trump's last tax cut. But what they're doing now is actually damaging our country and our people. Why? Why would they do this?